why why are we so bad at rest? Let's talk about it. This is Bite Size Theology. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bite Size Theology, a ministry of Springfield First, where we tackle big topics around faith, one bite at a time. I'm your host, Allison Means, and today I am joined by Nick Jordan. We're talking about rest and why it's so hard.
So, Allison, why are you so bad at resting?
I feel personally attacked by this topic.
That's switch the interview format.
No. Don't look at me. I'm the host, Nick. You're supposed to have thoughts.
All right. I have thoughts. They are sometimes helpful, in terms of pursuing rest.
This is something I am personally very bad at.
Yeah. I think there are multiple ways you can take it, because there's certainly plenty of talk kind of culturally about self-care and rest being a part of that. And I think that's very important and very helpful. I mean, I find it helpful to know what to expect from my body and how what the effect will be. Sometimes it's helpful to do that, to know that. And then there's the theological piece of Sabbath. And Sabbath, it means seven, as in seventh day, but it also means stop, like ceasing. And I find that interesting because rest seems very restful and stop seems much more command.
Yeah.
And then like it's in the 10 Commandments. And so there is this sense of, even though I don't know that I see Jesus talking about Sabbath in kind of indirect ways. And so I can try to think, well, as Christians, how do we relate to the 10 Commandments and make it some sort of like theological, intellectual exercise? And then I can push back on that and say, tell me about the other 10 Commandments that you really think we should, that don't matter that much and that we should intellectualize away or explain away. And then I am a lot more kind of caught by that idea of rest. I think that rest is how we are called to love ourselves. It's one of the ways that we're called to love ourselves. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
And it certainly helps us to do the other parts of life, which would be to love God and to love others. But Jesus, when he talks about loving others, love others as you love yourself. That gets to that there's very strong theological argument to be made for that self-care talk that's kind of in the world. But I hope that maybe we could, maybe we, meaning the church, meaning Christians, could say, oh yeah, I am being reminded of something that the quote unquote world is telling the truth. We need to care for ourselves.
Yeah. And
we need to recognize our limits. We need to recognize our the limits both of our abilities, but also the limits of what we can require of ourselves before things don't work anymore.
Right. I think in America in particular, we have this prevailing culture of like toxic productivity.
Sure.
Like everything you do needs to be like monetized, needs to be producing, like measured. And sometimes I have to tell myself, this little mantra to myself that says, rest is productive. Rest is productive. You don't have to be doing all the time.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to internalize.
Right. It is hard. And I'm trying to think about to be practical about what rest looks like. One thing I would say in terms of translating from the Old Testament to the New Testament and then beyond is that the church really did wrestle with basically, do I have to become Jewish to be a follower of the Jewish Messiah who is Jesus?
Right.
And they said, well, here are a few things. And they don't mention the Sabbath. And then when the New Testament talks about the Sabbath, it seems to me that it's not work hard for 6 days and then have a day of rest, as in work 6 24-hour periods and then have one 24-hour period and then 6 more. But it seems like because there's something about rest that is this is heady, but I think it's true, is a foretaste of the kingdom of heaven. That it's those times that we're able to experience the kingdom of heaven. And so that rest can look like a lot of things, but it also is not working for the weekend or working for the Sabbath, but it really is today has time to find rest in it. And each day does. And maybe it's not as much rest as we would like. But sometimes dipping a toe into it can be really helpful, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
If that is to take a breath, if that is to, or several breaths, if that is to go for a walk, if that is to, make a phone call to someone that's just kind of outside of whatever world that we're dealing with at that moment, that there are moments of creating times of rest. And times of rest meaning stepping out of time into eternity for a second, and finding how life-giving that can be, finding how I guess the thing I'm thinking about, there's an author, Wendell Berry, I think that's where I was reading this, that he had one of his characters was going through a cemetery and was thinking about all the very important people that were buried there, meaning like who lived their lives as if the world will not stop if I stop, and they stopped, and here we are.
And here we are.
Yeah, and it gets deeper than that. Not just am I not that important, but when we interact with that within the life of faith, it is God keeping things going, or am I keeping things going in terms of everything? Yeah.
How much of that is actually like a pride thing that we don't even realize it is?
Yeah, because I think most of the time we don't realize it. I think other times we can have a hard time resting because we're chasing hard after things that ultimately aren't going to satisfy. We can get down that path, but I do think sometimes it's hard to rest from especially good things, because we still need to stop doing good things sometimes too, and that's just
that's
weird.
harder. I
That's
think
a very weird thing.
It's really easy to be like, oh, I can't do this terrible thing anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Oh darn.
Yes.
But when it's this other thing is helping people, or it's bettering my family, or is XYZ, that's a lot harder to say, and I can't do it.
Right.
And I need a break from it.
Yeah. Well, and I think to your point about how our culture works, when we say, I can't do that, we're saying, and I am admitting my failure to be able to do everything to you right now. Like I am weak and I do not have enough and I can't keep up and I'm not as good as whoever who can do this. It feels like failure, not like here's life.
Right.
And that's what's very challenging because you're trying to keep up with other people.
Right.
You're trying to keep up with your imaginations of what other people think you should keep up with.
Right. With what image is being projected on social media of what people you think they're doing.
Yeah. And every once in a while, the ridiculousness of it breaks through, where recently there were a number of the like big tech companies that had their token billboard. It's meaning illustrating how much AI they could use in the course of their day. And the higher you were on the billboards, the more AI you were using. It uses tokens for the information. Then you would be higher and you get awarded at work. And it didn't take long for them to realize like, oh, actually, this does not correspond to productivity or quality of the work that you're doing. And to me, it's both like, oh, those stupid tech companies and whatever, but that's just what humans are doing all the time, like building up tokens of nothing, and none of us know what they're for. And rather than loving God and neighbor, or loving ourselves, or like just take a nap, or close your eyes, or do something we enjoy.
Well, my my friend Squire and I love to remind each other that a nap and a snack are scriptural.
What's the nap and the snack?
A nap and a snack? Not Jesus. God told Elijah, go take a nap
That's true.
and eat a snack.
All right. Yeah.
And then reframe.
Elijah gets hangry at God.
He gets angry at God, and God says, go lay down,
Yep.
eat a snack, and let's circle back.
All right.
Nap and a snack.
That's true. It's a very, we're still all 3-year-olds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of a nap and a snack.
That's true.
Rest.
I wonder if one way forward practically would be to, for some of us, this is just kind of goes like we just need to stop somehow, but for some of us, there might be people in our lives that we can make space to rest, for them to rest, or even enter into a sort of relationship in which we know that we give one another permission to rest.
Yeah.
To take a day off, or to realize, like, your schedule next Tuesday looks like a train wreck. Are you gonna, how can we protect you in that, or recharge around that? And there are ways I think that we can make space for other people, and in some ways it's trying to create a different kind of world for other people, because we know that we need it ourselves. And sometimes it will be, I believe that God says that I have limits, and that is a good thing, because God doesn't have limits. God says rest is good, and I need to rest, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say all these other voices that it's not true, and I'm not going to follow it. And I will be the one who says I'm not going to be there for this extra thing that's being required of me. I can't do that. I choose not to. I think we have to be wise about how we do that, but I think we make certain things all important. Like if I say no to this one thing, then I've said no to everything, and my whole career is derailed, or my whole relationship is derailed. When the reality is that there are people in our lives we can say, I'm tired too.
Yeah.
There are situations in which we can navigate it in a way of speaking truthfully, but also saying no. And
I have that written. You have your Post-its. I have one that says, it's not really Post-it, it's on my whiteboard. It just says, say no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Creating that, I was working with a clergy coach recently, and she was talking about just like, I don't like to see my clients not have empty space on their calendars. Like, I don't like to see the wall to wall, because then I know it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And
burnout's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's a overwhelming thing to experience, and I don't want that for anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea that rest is good. I mean, I think that's like, rest is very good. And in fact, like, of all the good things that God tells us to do, there's some of those things that we see God also doing, or we see Jesus also doing, but rest is one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, God rests. I don't know what that's about. It's not because God's tired. It's because there's something pleasurable about it somehow, or good about it. I don't know why God does it, but God does it. And if God can rest, then the world can go on without me for a little bit.
I am better than God.
If I take my vacation, I think the world's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think, in fact, we know that when we've been on the receiving end of that, when someone has included us in their rest, when a parent was unexpectedly home from work on some day to be with us, that sort of thing, or a friend took off work for our birthday or whatever it is, that we know that is right, and it is good, and it is joyful. And I think that's something that could help us to remember, oh yeah, rest is really good.
Yeah.
And it feels good. It is good. It's for our good. And I think that's why it's a commandment, because they turn out that these are invitations to life, not I'm going to make up random things that you can't have fun about. But
Yeah.
like, it's an invitation to life. Yeah.
I think that's great. All right. We got to rest, you guys. We have to rest. Jesus says so. God says so. We're going to do it. And we'll see you next time on Bite Size Theology. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Bite Size Theology, where we take big ideas around faith and break them down one bite at a time. We hope today's conversation has helped you grow in your understanding and sparked new insights in your journey of faith. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And as always, if you have questions or you want to dive deeper into today's topic, feel free to reach out. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep growing.